Hey guys, it's Zach from Creative Rocket Ship, and in this video I'm going to explain what the ideal audience size is for your ads on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so Facebook has a ton of detailed targeting options, and sometimes when you get in there it can be kind of like a kid in a candy store because there's just so much to do. And the biggest mistake I see people make is that they try to get their Facebook audience down to like 5 or 10,000 people by adding a whole bunch of these detailed targeting options. And they'll say, you know, only if they like this and this and this and this and this, then I want to market to them. I get the logic there because the idea is basically that you just want to be in front of this small group of people that, based on multiple interests, you believe are likely to want your product or service. That makes sense. You think they're highly qualified. The problem is Facebook's strength is really finding people who are similar to people that are reacting to your ads. And what you're doing is essentially telling Facebook that only these type of people would be interested in my product or service. So you're basically cutting out 90% of the people that could potentially be open to your product or service that Facebook would find by saying, only stick to this small group of people. I'm sure this is the only group of people that would like my product. It's also more expensive to get in front of smaller audiences because there's just a smaller pool of people to come from, which means that there's less chances for you to possibly get in front of them, which means that when you do get in front of them, it's going to be more expensive. Okay, so instead of running ads to a really small group of people that's dialed in and, you know, 5,000, 10,000 people, the number that I like to look for is around 250,000 people, okay? Now, if you're in a local area and you say that's more than the people that even live near me, we'll talk about that in a minute. But for now, if you operate, you know, statewide or nationwide, 250,000 people is a good minimum number for an audience. That's enough space for Facebook to kind of look around, find different people and say, okay, these people have similarities. These people are probably most likely to purchase your product or service. And you give them a large group of people to pull from, and they'll come back to you with better results. Now, when you start to use interests to target people, you only want to use one interest per ad set, okay? And the reason for that is if people start responding to that ad set, you don't know which of those interests they're responding to, and you could be watering down your results a lot by including those two different interests in the same group. So to give you an example, if you offer karate classes, you may want to target parents with children ages 4 to 12, right? That's a good set of people that would possibly be interested in signing up for karate classes. But the other group of people that you might want to target is people who like watching Cobra Kai on Netflix or something like that. That's cool, but you don't want to target Cobra Kai and parents in the same group. You would want a group of parents and a group of Cobra Kai watchers, and then you can tell based on those interests which one of those groups are responding better. If you put them all in together, then you can't tell which ones are responding, and the parents may be responding really well while the Cobra Kai watchers are not, and your results are just going to look really watered down and confusing. If your interest targeting brings your audience to under 250,000 people, I do not recommend using that interest to target your audience, okay? If it's close, you know, you use your judgment. You know, if it's 200,000, that might be okay. But if you see numbers around 50,000, you should be walking away from that group. That's not a big enough group to be marketing to unless you're really, really, really confident that that interest is highly qualifying those individuals. Now, the one time that this really doesn't apply is if you're a local service business and the population around you just isn't 250,000 people, that's okay. You can market to the group of people around you within whatever mile radius you determine to be your service area. So in no way, shape, or form am I saying go outside of your service area, or if you're selling lash extensions for women and you think there's a high likelihood that it's a female target market, don't include men in that market, okay? Don't push outside of who you know could possibly use your services to get to that 250,000 mark. Don't include people 50 miles out if you're only willing to go 20 miles out. But if you're only willing to go 20 miles out and you don't put any detailed targeting in, and that's a group of 150,000 people, leave it like that. Don't get into ages and sexes and things like that unless you know for a fact that those would disqualify certain people, because giving Facebook more people to work with is going to give you better results. Okay, so to recap, try to put your personal intuition aside when you're creating ads at first. You may think that you know who your best target market is, and you may very well be right on those intuitions, but giving Facebook more people is better for its algorithm, and you're just going to get better results that way. If you use interest targeting, make sure you only use one interest per ad set, so you know which group is responding to your ads. And finally, if you live in a smaller service area of less than 250,000 people, do not exclude anyone unless you know for a fact that they cannot utilize your product or service. Want to discuss your Facebook ads campaign? Schedule a free strategy call with me at creativerocketship.com. I look forward to speaking with you and helping you improve your Facebook ad results.